I didn't wake up confused. That's the first thing people misunderstand when they hear the story. They expect panic, screaming, the cinematic scramble. There was only water, flat and pale under early light. A small aluminum boat rocking gently. My daughter Eva sitting cross-legged near the bow, already awake. And no oars. She handed me the folded note without a word. You chose this. No signature. It didn't need one. The shoreline was a blurred line of pine and dock posts. We'd rented the cabin for the weekend, my son Daniel, his wife Marissa, Ava, and me. A reset trip, Marissa had called it. Fresh air, fewer tensions. The argument the night before had been quiet, about the cabin deed, about future planning, about how I was making things complicated by not transferring ownership yet. You're holding on out of pride, Daniel had said. I'm holding on because it's mine, I had answered. Apparently that was choosing this. Eva watched my face carefully, like she was studying a weather report. Are we in trouble? She asked. No, I said, and I meant it. The boat drifted lazily, pushed by a faint breeze. We weren't in the center of the lake, but we weren't close enough to swim casually either. I could see the marina dock as a faint shape, maybe half a mile off. No oars. No life jackets beyond the two thin cushions under the seats. I read the note again, not for meaning, but for tone. It wasn't rage, it was dismissal. A message that I had insisted on independence and now could practice it. I folded the paper and slid it into my pocket. Okay, I said, we'll move in stages. Eva blinked. Move how? I shifted my weight, testing the balance of the boat. Aluminum, light, manageable. The wind was angled toward the marina side. That helped. I'll guide us from the water, I said. Her face tightened. You're going to swim? Yes. I took off my shoes. The lake in early morning is deceptive. It looks mild, it isn't. When I lowered myself in, the cold climbed up my ribs like a warning. I held the edge of the boat with one hand, kicked lightly to test resistance. It would work. Listen, I told her. You stay centered. If I say lean left, you lean left. If I say stay still, you freeze. You're the ballast. She nodded, serious in the way children become when the room shifts from play to reality. The first few minutes were awkward. The boat wobbled. My shoulder protested. I adjusted my angle, pushing from the stern instead of the side. Slow progress is still progress. I did not look back at the cabin shoreline. Daniel had always mistaken volume for authority. Marissa mistook organization for control. They believed decisions were strongest when announced confidently. I believed decisions were strongest when they held under pressure. Halfway across, my calf seized. The kind of cramp that makes you see white at the edges. I held the boat tighter, breathing evenly. Dad? Eva's voice was thinner now. I'm fine, I said. Just stretching. I floated on my back for 10 seconds, one arm hooked through the metal brace so the boat wouldn't drift away. The sun was higher now, warming the surface enough to take the bite out of it. Then I rolled back and pushed again. We didn't shout, we didn't wave. About 20 minutes later, I heard it, a low engine hum. A patrol boat moving in a lazy arc along the marina perimeter. I didn't flail, I angled us slightly so we'd drift into their path. Authority notices calm more quickly than chaos. The patrol boat slowed as they approached. A uniformed lake officer stood, shading his eyes. You folks all right? Eva answered before I could. We were left. Clear. Direct. The officer's expression changed. Not dramatically. Just professionally. Left how? I handed up the note. My hand didn't shake. He read it once, then again. Where's the rest of your party? At the cabin, I said. Or the dock. He nodded and gestured for his partner to help stabilize our boat. They secured us with a line and towed us gently toward the marina. The ride back was quiet except for radio chatter. When we reached the dock, Daniel and Marissa were standing there. Daniel looked irritated first, then uncertain, then something closer to alarm when he saw the patrol uniforms. The officer stepped out ahead of us. Sir, he said to Daniel, we need to clarify something. Were these two left on open water without means of propulsion? It was just, Daniel started. It was symbolic. He wanted independence. The officer didn't smile. Abandoning miners on navigable water without safety equipment is not symbolic, he said. It's reckless endangerment. The words landed differently than any argument I'd ever made. Marissa's composure cracked first. We thought he'd just call for help. I met Daniel's eyes then. Not angrily, not triumphantly, just steadily. I didn't, I said. Statements were taken in the marina office. The note was photographed, identification recorded. There was no arrest, no dramatic scene, but there was paperwork. There is something about official language that rearranges family hierarchies. When a uniformed officer says, "This will be documented," confidence drains fast. 5 hours after I woke up on that boat, we were sitting in silence in the car. Ava leaned her head against the window, sunburned and tired but composed. Daniel had tried to apologize at the dock. It came out defensive. "That escalated," he'd said. "No," I'd answered. "It clarified. I didn't threaten to revoke the cabin. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't demand gratitude. Resilience isn't loud. It's procedural." At a stoplight, Eva looked at me. "You didn't cry," she said. "No." "Were you scared?" "Yes." She considered that. "You didn't look scared." "That's not the same thing." She nodded, absorbing it. Abandonment can teach helplessness, or it can teach method. Abandonment can teach melfless, or it can teach method. When we got home, I placed the note in a folder with the cabin documents. Not as revenge, as record. Daniel called that evening. His tone was different. Careful. Measured. "We made a mistake," he said. "Yes," I replied. There was no victory in it. Just a shift. Quiet. Undeniable. The cabin is still in my name. More importantly, something else is too. Not control, but dignity. And Eva saw exactly how it's kept.